Hi everyone, it's Janette here from Kay's Flower School. So lots of people are dropping us messages asking about bows. They want bows for decorating their Christmas tree, bows for tying on their Christmas door wreaths, bows for tying on their presents. So they just said, could I pop on and give them a couple of ideas. So I'm going to show you mostly fabric bows because I already have uploaded using the cheap kind of like florist paper ribbon. So the materials I'm going to use today are mostly like fabric bows. And these rolls of ribbon, they can be bought by the yard or the metre, as I would call it, from your local flower shop. But also, I'm going to mention like the likes of Lidl or Aldi, Dunnes Stores, Pennies. They also sell it by the roll. There may only be a couple of metres on the roll, but again, it's quite inexpensive. A fabric ribbon, I always think, looks so much nicer than like the cheap kind of like florist ribbon. Not that there's anything wrong with the cheap florist ribbon. So all you need is, I would say, approximately a metre or a yard. Now you can measure that out. I'm inclined here at the school, we do it as an arm stretch. And you need a sharp scissors to cut it. Now some of the ribbons I have a little bit longer and some I have a little bit shorter. The wider the ribbon goes, you may need it a little bit longer. But then it all depends on what you're going to tie the bow on. So I'm just going to give you ideas and then you can kind of turn this around, change it around to suit yourself. So with this gorgeous glittery ribbon, and I'm going to be full of glitter here, I'm going to show you a bow. By the way, all bows I'm going to show you now are going to be the exact same style. They will look completely different just because they're different widths, different lengths and different fabrics. So the bow itself is called a collar bow. So it's as if you were getting a piece of ribbon, mind me Christmas bobbins here, wrap it around your neck as if it was a scarf or a tie. So keep that in mind when you're making the bow. But actually what you have to do is pretend that you're wrapping it around somebody's neck, and you see that effect there. And it's up to you. Do you want to adjust it that the neck is a little bit bigger or that the tails are a little bit shorter? Do you see the way you can adjust it? Now it's really important that you get the angle right, and this is something that people are not aware of. Where these two pieces of ribbon kind of cross over each other, they should be like a cross shape. If you turn it that they're kind of more angled, you see like that there, the bow won't work. Or if you have an angle to the opposite direction, like that, the bow won't work either. So where the two pieces overlap, it's really important that you just check and see are they like a square. And then kind of hold it on the angle, you know what I mean? That this is where it's crossed under your neck and this is where it's wrapped around your neck. The back of the ribbon, which I'm going to call the back of the neck, you're going to bring that in level behind that square. And then using your two fingers, so these fingers here and these fingers here, you're going to pinch and gather it. I'm going to hold it sideways so you can see me pinching and gathering it in, and ignore the state of my nails because the nail technicians are closed here during the pandemic. I'm not sure what time of the year you're watching this at. I presume it's Christmas anyway. So what I'm going to do now is make little pleats, little gathers, and squash and pleat it in all the way to the opposite side. And it's really important to do tiny little gathers rather than huge big kind of folds. You can then choose to use a florist wire or a piece of florist ribbon. It depends what you're going to tie it on. So I'll show you different ways as we're working here this morning. So you get your piece of ribbon, wire, you wrap it around the centre of the piece of ribbon, you bring the two pieces of wire together. Now normally I have that one is much longer than the other. You squash them together and you then wrap one wire around the other. And then you go back and you, with your finger and your thumb, because this ribbon has a little wire inside it, you're able to stretch it and manoeuvre it and pull the little tails down, because sometimes the tails go east and west so you can adjust them. Now I like to fancy off the ends of the tail using a sharp scissors, and all I do is I fold the ribbon over in half. And starting at the open side of the ribbon, I cut on a 45-degree angle up into the fold, and that's how I get that little V there. I kind of missed just the edge of one side, so we'll go again. It's always nice to see me making a mistake anyway, isn't it? There you go. And then we can do the exact same on the opposite side. So again, start on the open side, cut on a 45-degree angle, up on a slant, and that's how you get your lovely V at the bottom. So this bow can be used maybe using the wire on it. You could now wrap this around the branch of the Christmas tree, or you could wrap it around the branch of an outdoor tree, or I will show you how we can tie it with a string, and then you'll be able to tie it onto a present. Now I'll show you the exact same bow, but this time using a wider fabric. So this is like a tartan fabric, and again there's a little bit of wire at the edge. So you just need your fabric a little bit longer this time, just to kind of show you there. See where I've kind of like stretched it out. But again, it depends what you're going to use it for, so just try it out. The great thing about the fabric, you can undo it, flatten it all back out again and remake the bow a second time. So the same idea, you're going to wrap it around, supposed to be somebody's neck, you're crossing it under the chin, and you can adjust like how big or how small you want the neck to be, which actually is going to be the bow. Again, you're looking for that cross effect. You see where they kind of cross over each other. You're bringing the back of the neck in level behind it, and you may find this easier to do a flat on the table because it is so wide, but I'll hold it up here. Between this finger and this finger here, hope you can see with all the fabric, is you're going to gather it. So again, tiny little pleat, all the way across, you see, until you get to the other side. So take your time doing that. Don't just kind of fold it over in half. And don't kind of get nervous that the bow looks like it's gone out of place. You'll be able to fix it in. Using again 20 gauge wire or a skinny piece of ribbon, tie it around the centre, squeeze it together that's nice and tight, wrap one wire around the other, a couple of times there just to hold, and then go back. Pull the two tails downwards, because sometimes what happens is the tails go east and west kind of to the side. Because this ribbon is so wide, I'm going to use my two hands. So again, use your hands or your fingers, you see, to like fluff out the bows, kind of make them nice and fluffy. And the same then at the opposite side. And there is a gorgeous bow. I just have to fancy off our little tails at the bottom. And we could use this to tie it onto the top of a Christmas door wreath or the bottom of a Christmas door wreath. I could also use it again to tie onto a present, or again maybe the end of your Christmas tree, or onto the branches of your Christmas tree, or again if you had an outdoor tree. And that's the great thing with the wires. You can just get the wire and wrap it around the branch of the tree, and that'll secure it in place. And even if it rains, the bow gets wet, but it'll dry out the next day. In Ireland here we get plenty of wind, and that'll dry out your bow. So listen, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I do have a couple more tutorials using different types of ribbons, you know what I mean? So maybe just go and just search Kay's Flower School. If you do have any questions, why don't you go to our website, flowerschoolireland.com, and we do have a blog button, and there's lots of other free tutorials on our blog button that you're more than welcome to watch. Listen, thanks a million for joining, and listen, give us a thumbs up if you enjoy that. Oh, I've just remembered, every Friday at 11 AM over on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and also here on YouTube, we always have a free live class. There's always lots of giveaways, some prizes, some presents, etc. But there's always a free demonstration. So make sure you join us at 11 AM on a Friday here on YouTube, or as I said, on our Facebook page, Instagram page, Kay's Flower School.